Hello and welcome to round 2 of the 2020 Formula Virtual World Championship here from Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. My name's Bradley Downton. I'm joined today by Lilly Westwood.
Salam.
And down in the pit lane, Robert Mathishaw.
Hello.
We're in the energy-sapping heat of the Malaysian sunshine today then, where the drivers will be tackling 56 laps of this 15-turn 5.543 kilometre circuit. Klaas van Snelheid won last year and has the lap record. Can he repeat that one today? Before that, it was Nathaniel Powers and Adrian Simon. Let's take a look at the grid then. Well, it's Nathaniel Powers who's best placed. He lines up on pole position. Enrique Ruiz is alongside. Most of the field are on the hard tyres. There are the few and notable exceptions on the mediums, which I will highlight as we go through the grid. Lining up on row 2 then. Will Hoskins in the first, a fantastic effort from the Brit, as Elroy Wagner lines up alongside, desperate to make up for a disappointing retirement last time out in Japan. Row 3 consists of Felix Perez and Dominykas Sviranas, great qualifying from the Lithuanian, and it features the first two drivers on the medium tyres then. Watch out for them coming through the field early on, as the Dutchman behind them, Klaas van Snelheid, disappointed with 7th on the grid, didn't quite go his way in qualifying, but he'll be hoping the medium tyres can bear some fruit. Adrian Simon alongside him on the 4th row in 8th, and rounding out the top 10 back in 9th and 10th, it's Ingram, Jean Matson ahead of James Vazquez. The Ingram boys there rounding out the top 10 positions. Just outside, last time out winner Alar Kanga, slightly disappointed with 11th. He goes on the hard tyres, and just in front of Johan Halvorsen, who will be looking to make up for a rather dismal Japan, as will his teammate Gabriela Garcia, who is directly behind him in 14th. Those two are split by the Argentine of Sergio Alvarez, the lead of the Phoenix cars. Just behind them on row 8 we have Carl Beckenbauer, the lead Westwood Porsche car, and Timo Kinnaman in the Chima. They are looking as though they're in a bit of a championship battle this year, those two teams. So interesting to see how they go from the same row of the grid. Hunter Ryan, very, very disappointed with his qualifying session, down in 17th in the Ocelot and some work to do. He's on the mediums, as is Nikolai Milkovic alongside, so they could be making up some ground early on. Thierry Zylander starts from 19th, with Puccio Giordano rounding out the top 20. Also another one on the medium tyres and be looking to make up ground early on. Felix Baird goes from 21st in the lead of the Meteors. He has a new teammate this weekend, we'll mention in a minute. Carson Davenport is the lead Lucas in 22nd. On row 12, Gianni Ledesma, the Italian, returning for the first time since 2013. He lines up alongside Nick Addison in the first of the Franklin cars, and on the back row we've got the second of the Franklin cars. It's Enzo Dominicali, while a disappointing qualifying leaves Thunder starting from last. So as we go down to the grid then, it's Nathaniel Powers in pole position on the right, Enrique Ruiz second on the left. It's a long hold with the lights. The lights go out now and we're racing in Kuala Lumpur. It looks as though it's a great start from Enrique Ruiz in second then, and Hoskins in third. Ruiz already up and alongside pole sitter Nathaniel Powers, and he's got the inside line down into turn 1. Ruiz from second on the grid then, looks as though he's going to take the lead, but no, Powers holds on around the outside of turn 1 then, and Nathaniel Powers looks as though he's got it back, and now Hoskins is challenging for Ruiz for second place as well, but the Brazilian holds on, so it's Powers from Ruiz, Hoskins third, Sviranas on the medium tyres is up to 4th ahead of Wagner, Klaas van Snelheid 6th, Ruiz challenging Powers then, once again into turn 4, he's round the outside, Enrique Ruiz, a brilliant move from the Brazilian, and Ruiz takes the lead.
Yeah, fantastic move around the outside there, just seemed to get a fantastic drive out of turn 2 there. As we've got a North Star, I guess that is Garcia going around the outside of Kanga, and now we've got Zylander.
Oh, Kanga's been hit then. Alar Kanga with an awful start, the race winner last time out, the first ever victory for Lopez, started 10th? 11th? Somewhere on the grid, dropped to 15th, and he's just been punted out, and Alar Kanga now runs last and the championship leader, and he has an awful lot of ground to make up now.
Yeah, it's going to be a long afternoon for Kanga. Obviously that car is quick, so we will get to see how well it does in siding through the field today.
Yeah, most definitely then. So Ruiz leads as they head towards the end of the first lap. Powers going with him. There's a little bit of a gap back to Will Hoskins, but Sviranas in 4th is the one that we need to be keeping an eye on then. He is the lead car on the medium tyres, so watch to see whether he can come through the top 3 and maybe start to break away. But it's Ruiz sets the fastest lap then on the opening lap of the race.
Yes,
somewhat unsurprisingly.
There's not a lot more I can add to that. As Perez goes, is that Perez around the outside of Simon, or is he defending? Either way, it's a fantastic manoeuvre. As we've now got, I think that's Vasquez up the inside of Simon. These hard tyres really not switching on straight away for the the majority of the field that's on them.
Yeah, Vasquez then through past Simon, and Matson tries to go around his countryman as well. Oh, Matson slicing across then, and I think there was wheel-to-wheel contact there, but Simon has just held on to that one, and actually Matson's now lost out to Alvarez as well.
Yeah, very sneaky little opportunistic overtake there. But
Garcia also up the inside. Matson holds it though.
Yeah, Garcia just had to get out of that at the last second. That's compromised him and his teammates' run now down towards the hairpin. This car's all over the place as we've got now Ryan trying to go around the outside. Bit of a jam up there, but yeah, as I think that's Halverson again trying to get past Garcia, but again no dice.
Yeah, Hunter Ryan then, one of several drivers. As we go on board then, it's Thierry Zylander who made contact with the back of with Alar Kanga.
Yeah, no excuse for that really. He knew that they were on heavy fuel, cold tyres. And obviously Kanga was on a compromised line. He was going to have to brake a bit earlier.
Yeah, just a bit of a slip there from Zylander as Nathaniel Powers right in the wheel tracks of Enrique Ruiz, and looks as though he's going to try and move down into turn one. Powers goes down the inside. There's a gap left there by the Brazilian. Ruiz is surely going to hold this around the outside though. But no, Powers round the outside of turn two. Nathaniel Powers takes back the lead then.
Yeah, but what's that drive from Ruiz with that powerful Porsche power unit in the back of his car? Powers goes defensive into turn four. His vehicle. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there. Just look to unsettle Ruiz more than Powers actually, as Hoskins is keeping these two incredibly honest.
Yeah, Will Hoskins doing a fantastic job there behind the pair. Zviranas behind them though is actually losing time on the medium tyres. Meanwhile, but behind him, Klaas van Snelheid is through past Wagner, so I wonder if Klaas is going to be able to dispatch Zviranas and start to catch the top three.
You would expect so. He's got a quicker car and arguably a bit more talent and experience.
Most definitely. Just going back to a point I was making earlier then, Hunter Ryan, currently 14th, one of several drivers in qualifying yesterday who got caught out or struggled in a way, he just couldn't hook a lap together. You know, everywhere he was going just seemed to there just seemed to be traffic in the way. Adrian Simon was another one who got caught out. But yeah, so Hunter Ryan trying to make his way through the field then. He's up to 14th, but I mean, that Ocelot, it's shown it should be higher up the grid. He's got a bit of work to do today.
Yeah, obviously, like you say, there is definitely pace in the car. And it's unfortunate, but sometimes it happens that you get caught out on the Saturday and you've got to make it all up on that Sunday afternoon as Ruiz gets very close under braking. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see how he handles this situation. Ooh. That was also very close.
Whoa!
He just decided to drive around him. Do you reckon Simon might have a problem there? We've seen obviously some reliability issues from the Porsche teams already this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, so that was James Vasquez. So Vasquez was already ahead, so it looked as though Simon had either moved back through or was coming back past. And but Vasquez, he was exceptionally late onto the brakes in turn one and just drove clean around the outside of him. Admittedly, though, Vasquez is on the quicker tyre. He is on the mediums.
Yeah. Jesus, what's wrong with me today? Those medium tyres.
Oh no, Vasquez isn't, sorry. Vasquez is on the hards.
Is he?
Yeah. That's what my grid graphic tells me.
I think your grid graphic might be wrong.
It wouldn't be the first time.
I think it's like I think the most bit of a sideways movement there from Will, but the most impressive part about Hoskins today is he's not even got a tyre advantage, as Wagner's also gotten past Zviranas, and is actually keeping touch with Klaas as well. So yeah, and also on the hard tyres.
Yeah, that's not great going then from the Lithuanian. Struggling along now, it seems, in 6th place, and he's now got Felix Perez behind him. Perez is on the mediums, like Zviranas then. So
Simon and Vasquez are going back at it again. Simon is back in front of the braking zone. Vasquez can't do anything. Simon keeps that door firmly shut. Sorry to cut across you there, Brad.
No, that's alright. That's a beautiful camera angle.
It is, I love it.
What I was just going to note, actually, Kanga's got back past one car already. I think this happened a few laps ago. But he's back ahead of Thunder, who seems to be 5 seconds off the pack, so I wonder if something's gone on there as well. I wonder if Thunder's had a little problem. But something else I noticed looking at that, Nick Addison in the Franklin up into 18th.
Yeah, he's doing
That was a
fantastically
mega start
well.
from the Australian.
Splitting the Westwoods. Yeah, he's really pulling out all the stops for Franklin today.
Yeah, fantastic effort. And let's not forget, well, this will be just before his home race then, next time out in Australia, or at least we should be going to Australia. We're still waiting to know where in Australia at the moment.
Yeah, we've just been told it's roughly somewhere in the country, which is helpful considering it's such a large country.
Yes, indeed, but as we sail towards the front then, Perez still trying to get past Veronas, but he's only been there about a lap. Meanwhile, on board then with Enrique Ruiz in second place, chasing Nathaniel Powers. I think he's just biding his time at the moment, isn't he? I don't think he expected Powers to come back at him, really.
No, I think he was kind of expecting it to be a case of, I'm in front, job done, I'll try to sail
never
away.
mind, sorry to cut across you. Here we go, Ruiz down the inside into turn 1 then on Nathaniel Powers, and he's all over the curb on the inside, as we see so often here in Malaysia. He's got the outside line for turn 2, but he's made better use of it this time. Ruiz uses the traction, and he's got him, and I think Will Hoskins now is going to have a run at Powers as well. He's got the inside line as they head to turn 4. Powers trying to crowd him out. They're not going to go 3 wide, are they, into turn 4? Powers tries to, he's up the inside of Ruiz. They all come out of the corner incredibly, and Hoskins is still there on the outside of Powers, and now sweeps round into second place.
Yeah, obviously 3 former Franklin drivers there going hammer and tong.
And that's put Klaas van Snelheid then right on the back of his teammate.
Yeah, it has. So now Nathaniel's probably got overheated tyres and a very eager teammate behind him. So here comes Hoskins. No, that's Perez.
Ah, this is Perez and Zverinas. Oh, so yeah, Perez and Zverinas then have come together at turn 1, and that's
that's
the Mathishore team will be happy with that. That's just allowed Seam on a free pass ahead of both of them. And yeah, that's quite right. That is Vasquez, and he is on the medium tyres. So,
last minute strategy change maybe for the Ingrams?
Well, we can't. They're locked in, aren't they? So it would appear that there has been some miscommunication.
But yeah, really unlucky with that wheel lock there. Just nothing that Zverinas can do to shake him off, and there's nothing that Perez can do to get away from him, really. Yeah,
and that's now... So Zverinas has recovered to 8, but Perez has dropped to 11th, so that's a real problem there for the Mexican. As here we go into turn 1, the 2 Downtons you expect Klaas will go past here easily, but no, Nathaniel fights it around the outside then, and Powers, is he going to let him through? Oh, Perez has got a run around the outside of turn 2, but no, I don't think he's quite got the traction to do it, and these two now fighting are really costing themselves. They're 2.5 seconds behind the race leaders, and Wagner is right there as well.
Yeah, so he's now finding the pressure on the Downton team. Why did I have to think about that one? It's orange.
Yes, not white.
And he's look how much faster he's in the corners. Gained heaps of time through that chicane. As we've got, I think that's Alvarez just...
yeah, I think that's Alvarez losing out to Garcia.
Oh, Garcia overtook him.
Yeah, so Garcia then up into 11th place. Perez has gone up into 10th, so he's overtaken someone somewhere.
He does that. Look at that. Hoskins is still keeping Ruiz honest. This is really interesting. When was the last time we saw these two scrapping out for position?
Hoskins and Ruiz?
Yeah. 2014?
I was going to say, it's got to be 2014, surely.
But, yeah, top 3 different power units, 3 different manufacturers. You'll love to see it.
Alar Kanga has slipped back to last.
You don't want to do that. I'm just wondering if... No, because he hasn't got that far up.
But no, he's got ahead of Thunder, who's 5 seconds off the back of the pack. Thunder seems to have caught back up now, but Kanga's fallen back to last and a couple of seconds off the pace.
He's not having a good afternoon, is he? It's gone
I wonder if there's some damage to the car. It's a pretty hefty whack. As the midfield comes through turn 1 then.
Quite a train forming, in fact.
Isn't it just?
Yeah. That's Halverson holding them all up as well.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I think Halverson's... I think it's really the Phoenix cars, and Halverson's kind of just fought his way past them. But wasn't it? It was higher on the grid, wasn't it?
There was some skid marks going off of that fast chicane there, Bradley. I wonder if that might have something to do with Kanga's woes.
Well, that is entirely possible.
Anyone on the inside, question mark? Not quite. But you would have loved to see it.
I wonder if,
Ryan and Beckenbauer are going wheel to wheel there. Ryan
Yeah,
takes the outside line and sweeps around him.
Hunter Ryan not making progress as quickly as I expected. In fact, since the last time we talked about him, he's actually lost the position.
Yeah, he went backwards a few places. I don't know how, but I don't think he's very pleased with himself. What's Carl doing?
And Ryan also on the medium tyres there, so you'd be expecting him to make more progress. But the medium tyres don't seem that much quicker here at the moment.
Not really. I mean, the front runners seem to be putting them to good use, but the...
Do they though? Klaas can't even get past his teammate.
Good point.
I mean, Klaas is the highest runner on the medium tyres in 4th. The next one's Zviranas back in 7th, who's now 8 seconds behind Adrian Simon. Admittedly, a lot of that will have come down to, you know, the incident.
I would argue that, for example, Beckenbauer's back in front of Ryan, and now Addison's getting involved. Milkovic fancies his chances. What's going on back here?
I don't know, but that's a cracking helmet that Nick Addison has.
Yeah, it's got Australia on it. The whole continent of Australia. It's a country.
I'm glad you corrected yourself, because I was about to.
Very rudely, I imagine.
Probably.
Bullied all day in the commentary box. Unbelievable.
As Perez has made his way back up past Matson into 9th now.
Certainly has, hasn't he? Now he's going to chase down Vasquez.
Yeah, setting about his recovery then, following the collision with Zviranas earlier. As we go on board with Klaas van Snelheid then, still hunting down his teammate, but not able to make those medium tyres work at the moment.
I just wonder if perhaps they're starting to gather a bit too much temperature in the medium spread.
Lee.
I've called you Brad before.
Well, no one would have appreciated it.
I see.
Yeah, Klaas then still sat in 4th. Wagner behind him, losing touch a little bit now with the two Downtons, now that they've stopped scrapping quite so much.
He is, and they have.
Oh, we've got a
contact.
that's Hunter Ryan. It's really not going well for him today, is it? As Marcus Thunder's in the pits for some reason. I'll tell you what, that has helped Alar Kanga gain a few positions though, but Ryan's still stuck and he's across the front of
Ryan.
Carl Beckenbauer, that was then, that was caught up, and Gianni Ledesma, who, oh god. Ledesma then, returning to Formula Virtual. We should probably talk about this.
He really is. Oh, blimey. As Hoskins has a bit of a rear lockup. I think some of the boys are starting to loosen grip out there.
Ruiz, I noticed the back end of Ruiz getting away as well.
It's a tricky corner, to be fair.
But, where were... Ledesma, yeah, returning to Formula Virtual for the first time since he raced for... well, it was actually Meteor, wasn't it? Back in 2013.
So. Wow, that's got to be the longest gap between Formula Virtual races.
It is. It's that has now set a new record, and he replaces Lewis Ellington, who somewhat fell out with the team, supposedly after the race in Japan. Well, he wasn't too impressed that the car that they turned up with was seemingly significantly worse than last year's.
But at least he's now not having to race with the car that he's actually in. A lot of people very, very confused by his choice of move, I guess, if you will.
Well, this is true. As into the pits comes Carson Davenport. So Davenport then is on the soft tyres.
He's in for a long afternoon.
I wonder if that's why Thunder's pitted. I wonder if they're both on the softs.
I don't believe they were supposed to be.
No, they weren't.
Yikes.
Confused.
Some people are going to be upset.
Yeah, I think we've got a few strange strategies out there. that we weren't expecting or informed of. But nonetheless, we'll run with it. Hunter Ryan has just had to pit as well. I assume that one is for damage. I wonder if Rob's got any news for us from the pit lane.
No, I'm a bit amused by all that. Did Lucas manage to get themselves sorted out in terms of submitting their strategy?
They did, yes.
Oh, okay, so a very unexplained problem.
I should know because we were there with them at the time.
That's good. I always send someone else to do us. That's Altuo's job.
That's fair enough. He's team principal.
Yes.
So Ryan then now last by quite a distance is Felix Perez down the inside of James Vasquez for 8th place, but nothing doing, can't get the move done there. They are both on the mediums then, so Jean Matson behind is on the hard tyres as we expected. I wonder if I'm assuming no one else is on the softs now, although Kanga has just pitted from 22nd.
That's
Rob?
not good for him. Why has he done that? Ah, well, there he is. Probably damaged then. Rob, anything on Kanga?
Not that I could see. I think they were looking around at the front end, but I can. It's a bit weird. So for a 2-stop strategy, you're looking at that pit stop on lap 19, and the 1 stop they need to get to lap 28. Obviously, I can't see anything, any more stops than that, purely because everyone's got so hard on the spectrum for the tyres.
Yeah, interesting to see Kanga then in on the hards so early. So as you say, Lily, that must have been for some damage that he's picked up somewhere along the line. Not the race I should imagine he was hoping for after Australia. It's not Australia, I've already done it. It was Japan. We opened the season in Japan.
We did, because we were there and I said Konnichiwa and everybody loved it.
Well,
Randy, what, I forgot.
Oh, Adrian Simon then, scrapping with Elroy Wagner for 5th place.
He certainly is, and we've also got Perez chasing down. Oh, he's about to do something crazy. Oh, that's Matson, not Vasquez. Oh, bit of contact there. Matson closes the door, but Perez decides he's not done.
Yeah, so that's Jean Matson then coming back through on the Mexican. Or is it? Because Perez looks as though he might have got that place back, but Matson's on the outside. The absolute wheel to wheel then as they head towards turn 4. Perez on the outside line. Halverson looking to try and get something out of this as well, and indeed he does. Halverson sweeps around the outside of Felix Perez.
Very impressive overtake. I enjoyed that.
Oh, behind them there's contact. That's Alvarez and Garcia, and the pair of them are sent spinning. That was close.
It was slightly, wasn't it?
I think.
Did fantastically well to get it slowed down. He really had to check up mid-corner there.
Yeah, he most definitely did, but I think that's already cost them because I believe Sergio Alvarez has lost his front wing.
He has, I think. It looked like it. I saw
It
some debris on
certainly
the,
looked like it from that
track
overhead
surface.
shot, but we'll wait and see whether we get another shot of him or whether he dives into the pits. So a few drivers out there today making some
Silly mistakes.
sort of clumsy mistakes, yeah, that you'd have kind of expected in the first race of the season.
Yeah, I mean, at the first race it was a bit less demanding in a way because they got to drive in a nice kind of like cool environment. Whereas here, obviously, it's very hot, very humid, and that definitely can hamper your focus a little bit if you're not prepared for it. Which, surprisingly, some of them don't seem to be.
Yeah, most definitely. As I've just noticed towards the back, Kanga, did he not come out of the pits 1 minute 12 seconds off the lead?
Yeah.
Because if he did, he's made up a phenomenal amount of time in just a couple of laps. As Sergio Alvarez does indeed dive into the pits then. Rob, can you see anything?
Yeah, a lack of front wing.
That'll do it.
Yep, that would do it indeed. So Alvarez then, that's going to really harm any chances he has of points today.
Yeah, and it's a shame because he's been driving so well. And I believe it was here where didn't he get like the Phoenix's best result ever, or
no?
I think of it.
He this was the race where he should have had Phoenix's best result ever.
Oh
in
yeah,
their, like,
sorry,
fourth
Alex.
race.
I remember now.
And Alex will now be sat on the pit wall, listening to the commentary, sobbing his eyes out.
Yikes, man. Let's change the subject real quick.
Poor little fella.
I think Alex is going to come spark me out after this.
Yeah, I mean, up front then, Rui's still leading. He's pulled a little bit of a gap now to Will Hoskins. The gap 1.9, but I mean Hoskins is sticking with him quite well.
Yeah, I mean he's not as close as he was, but he's definitely not let him go by any stretch of the imagination. That's easily enough of a gap where Ruiz makes one little mistake and he's through to the lead.
Yeah, exactly what I was just about to say. And Powers and Class as well, since they've stopped scrapping, see the time that they've lost, it was lost while they were fighting and not letting one another through. They haven't really dropped any further away since.
No.
I think that's what we've come to expect though from racing. You know, where they are all on the same tyres at the moment. There is going to be a bit of stagnation, especially towards the front. My biggest surprise here is Klaas van Snelheid not being able to make any moves.
Yeah, that has been quite probably disappointing for his afternoon in a way, because he would have been expecting to, you know, qualify at the front on Saturday and really just try and run away with it. But so far, it's looked like even if he did stick it on the front row or in pole position, he wouldn't have even had the pace to sail away with it.
Yeah, I mean, if we got anyone, I suppose it's difficult saying that we've not really got anyone on the medium tyres in clear air. The only real example we've got, I should imagine, is Verinas, who's 11 seconds at the moment behind Wagner, but struggling to really make anything of the medium tyres.
Indeed. Sorry, I zoned out. Nothing against you, it's just when the tyres go spinny, sometimes they're like, you know when the sidewalls, because they look funny, and they look like they start going backwards.
To be fair, yeah, I do know what you mean.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Sorry.
Felix Perez then,
actually,
we're on board with the Mexican at the moment. He's I mean, he's in 11th, another one.
Oh.
I'd have expected him to recover better. He had that incident and then kind of got lost in a couple of scraps, lost a few positions and hasn't been able to make the ground back up. I don't understand what's going on out there today at the moment. It's really bloody weird.
There's some funky stuff happening, Bradley. It's funky and it's weird.
As
Sorry,
Nick
Emma,
Addison
so far.
moves up to 16th.
He was already
Never mind.
there. Oh dear. I mean,
That's,
I can't really truly mean that, oh dear.
I was going to say. That's Butcher Giordano back through then for Westwood. Westwood, who
Yes.
I think it's fair to say you kind of see yourselves in a scrap with Shima this year, don't you?
Yes, they are the target for 2020.
Not going too well at the moment, is it?
Thanks, Brad. No, I mean, we did have Beckenbauer in the mix until Ryan decided to mess that one up. But
In fairness,
I
I
mean,
think Ryan got tagged. Oh! Klaas van Snelheid into the pits then.
Oh, that's a bit
Rob,
early
what's
for a
this going to mean
two-stop.
for his race?
This means that they're probably going to be consigned to a 3-stop strategy.
Ouch, that's
yeah, that's
that is not going to be good at all then. And yeah,
And
in
many
indeed
of the medium
comes
tyres
Verinas and Vasquez on the mediums, Perez in as well. So none of them are going to make it to the magic lap 19 number that they need to. And that's going to be a 3-stopper. Mind you, Klaas has come back out in 6th. That doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, I think that they might still have a chance of, as long as the pace is better than Zverinas has shown, I think that they've still got a very good chance of catching that back up and actually making up the pit stops worth of time.
What would be interesting now is actually whether the hard tyres can make it to the mid-race distance or not. It does
That's
seem
very true.
exceptionally hot here today. If they can't, and they end up
Yeah.
doing a 2-stopper as well, the mediums are only making one more stop. So yeah, quite right as you say. We'll watch Klaas's pace then, because he has a rather significant 14-second gap of clear air in front of him to Elroy Wagner. So he's got the space to put the hammer down now.
I'm trying to look down the grid to see if there's anyone that's made that extra lap, but
Well, supposedly both the Franklins were on the mediums. Neither of them seem to have
Which-
pitted yet.
I can't quite get a good look at his wheelies. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
definitely mediums on that. That's the second Franklin then of Dominicali. So yeah,
I know
so
for
they've
a
managed
fact
to
that,
stretch stretch the tyres out, but even that's not going to help them, because if it's only a lap, well, they needed to get to 19.
No, yeah. Shush. I said I know for a fact that Giordano in front of these guys did actually... Oh, Perez.
Yeah, and there we go then, into the pits comes Dominicali, Giordano as well, and Nick Addison, as Carl Beckenbauer then we are on board with, all over the back of Felix Baer. We've got James Vazquez just in front of them, who's just made his first stop. Beckenbauer down the inside of Baer. Is he going to get that one done? He's going to put himself on the outside of turn 2 then, and surely he's going to have the better traction. No, Baer sort of chops him off a little then, and Beckenbauer has to back out of it. Meanwhile, Vazquez has used that to just scamper up the road.
Yeah, he's done with this battle. He's I don't know what to say, but he's gone away.
Ooh.
Oh, there's Perez.
Hello.
Go around the outside. Ooh.
Wow, okay, those new tyres have some grip, don't they? Yeah, look at that, actually, Klaas has already shaved 2 seconds off the advantage that Enrique Ruiz had over him when they came out of the pits.
Phoebe. So the fresh rubber really seemed to have like quite an impact here. But I just wonder if maybe the hard tired runners have seen that the medium tired have like fallen short slightly, and they're just maybe trying to eke out their stint a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, it would absolutely make sense to do so, as there we go. As we've seen on the timing screen, Klaas van Snelheid bangs in the fastest lap as he sets about in his pursuit of Elroy Wagner.
Yeah, I should imagine that gap's going to come down rather rapid.
Yes, very much expect it. Well, I mean, to be fair, at the pace of 2 seconds a lap quicker, he'll have caught him by lap 24. Was that someone diving into the pits in the background? Did I just see?
I didn't see who it was though.
It's Thunder. Ah, well, he's for some reason he's out of sync anyway, isn't he?
Yes, I believe so.
Not quite sure on the reason for that one, unless he is actually on the soft tyres as well, like his teammate. Which
Maybe
would that be about right?
If he was out of sync, I don't know.
Either way, he's rejoined in 25th, ahead of Hunter Ryan, who
Oh, we actually do have an answer from our pit lane correspondent, Sir Robert Mathashorius.
Well, the two Lucases did pit on around lap 9 or 10, so this would kind of correspond with another stint length. If that's as long as the softs can go, and they are on the softs, then they might be consigned to the 5 stop strategy.
Eesh. So they're definitely in for a long afternoon. They better hope they brought enough tyres.
So I'll have to start reusing the old ones.
Well, it's like Jack Johnson says. You've got to reduce, reuse, and recycle. They're reusing and recycling. They haven't really reduced their use, but yeah, cheers for that, Rob. Ooh,
brilliant.
Halverson is quite looking a little feisty on the curve on the inside there. No dice though for the Dane. I was about to say Denmarkian.
that is definitely not a word.
That's why I didn't say it, Bradley.
As yeah, all over the back of the. I was trying to think of a stupid word for someone French then, and just came up with Frenchman, and went, that's actually what they're called. Yeah, so that didn't work. All over the back of Frenchman John Matson then, trying to take 7th place. Halverson and North Star will be rather desperate for a good result here, because it went slightly wrong in Japan.
So I've got Rob feeding me French facts in my ear. Were you talking about the hard tyres last race for North Star? I'm going to get booted off of my job if I'm not careful.
Yes, yeah, that is what I brought
tyre
up.
choice definitely going better today than it was last week. Like I said, probably still using the ones that they took to Japan. But
yeah, they'd have certainly still been rather fresh after their stint in at Fuji.
I would say 8th is quite respectable. About probably roughly where we would expect the North Star to be, if not slightly below.
I disagree.
But I think being below Hansen would be quite disappointing for them.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I suppose 8th, yeah, probably about where we're expecting North Star, but not as it would be. Ooh.
Alright.
Yep.
Oh, what was that?
I swallowed fresh air.
Right, yeah, sorry, just...
I've lost. Yeah. So 8th probably about where we're expecting North Star, but as you say, not behind Matson because a few people have pitted. They seem to be sort of in the fight there with first Lopez and Ocelot.
Yeah, obviously, I think this isn't really the circuit to analyse them at. They have historically never done well here, whether it's in regards to the car underperforming or them just suffering some pretty awful luck. Sorry if that jinxes you.
Oh,
by the way, I'm
that's
touching
a spinner. Sorry, that is Felix Bayer then. In 18th place, and he has just lost out there to Puccio Giordano, and now he's got his teammate right behind him as well. So not sure what happened there, but I'm sure if it was of any significance, we will get a replay. He's now got...
That's what's going up the inside because Bayer's tyres are absolutely cooked, and yeah, there's nothing that he can do to fight back there.
Yeah, and there we go then. Gianni Ledesma in his first race, back in Formula Virtual, passes his teammate. Admittedly, it took a spin and several seconds worth of lost time, but... Well, there we go. He's not last.
Tyres and a slightly, probably mentally tilted driver.
Yes. Meanwhile, back up at the front, actually, this is interesting. Will Hoskins has started to drop back a little bit more from Ruiz as they get towards the end of the, well, what you assume is getting towards the end of the first in on the hard tyres. And Powers is actually catching him back up now as into the pits comes Alar Kanga yet again.
Is he just eating his tyres instead of like driving on them? Is he just going, like, what's going on?
I don't know, Rob. I couldn't see anything from the onboard. Did you see any damage?
It's strange because it would appear that essentially he's doing the stint length of a soft tyred runner plus a lap every time. So I don't know. Maybe they've got the tyre softener out and they've tried to get some extra pace and it hasn't worked.
Yeah, that's really.
That was a joke, not slander. I'm just putting it out.
Definitely not slander after you. Well, you wouldn't slander the team that got the first Porsche victory,
wouldn't I?
Oh, we're going to move away from that one.
We've got a yellow flag in the middle sector then.
Yeah, we have.
It has gone now. That's someone recovering from an incident. It's Ledesma! And that was exactly the same corner that his teammate spun last lap.
But maybe that Meteor's just getting a little bit unstable through that bend there on the old tyres.
Aye, maybe.
Rob's got a little note about a possible upgrade or change to the Meteor since the launch and testing. Rob, what you got?
Yeah, so in testing during the launch, we saw that the Meteor had the shark fin configuration, and from what I've been able to see as they're flying past on the pit straight, they very much don't have that shark fin this weekend. I don't know whether that's a conscious choice by the team or whether they've been told to as part of the regulations, but certainly something interesting.
Maybe they forgot it.
I was just going to say that, and then actually it must be quite difficult to forget such a rather significant part of the car.
Yeah, so I imagine this comes down to quite a sudden abrupt sort of design change, and it does seem to have destabilised the car through the turns.
Yeah, I've also heard that there is somebody that does graphics for the TV broadcast who specifically had to change the shark fin on Meteor's advice because the driver had changed, and now that was obviously redundant.
That person
I didn't notice that one.
very, very impressed with the... as that's Powers up the inside of Hoskins. He's just caught him and passed him.
Yeah, brilliant.
Hoskins really dropping off pace-wise now then.
I nearly called him Will Powers. That's not right at all.
That's
he's very nearly an IndyCar driver.
He's multiple IndyCar drivers now.
Yeah, Nathaniel Powers then up and past Hoskins quite easily, and he's already half a second up the road. So, well, that looked very easy. So Hoskins' tyres, yeah, clearly going off now. What I was just going to notice actually, Klaas van Snelheid, since his early initial pace on those medium tyres, he's still catching Wagner, but it's very much dropped off. It's a much reduced rate.
Yeah, he's not looking too cozy on those mediums anymore. And to be honest, neither of these two fellas, Perez and Vasquez, it's almost like they just seem to like initially have that burst of speed, but then they just can't maintain it.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if they're just pushing too hard on the opening laps, and it's really hurting the tyres.
Rob, would you like to chip in?
Yeah, I think what's happening here is that they're going into out of the pit lane kind of as hot as they can get, and they're just pushing, getting the lap time out. I think they might just be overheating the surface of the tyre. We know the track temperatures are extraordinarily high this weekend, and you might find it's just that actual compound that's just not quite coping with the scrub across the circuit on the opening laps. They'd basically just taken the best out of the tyres so much quicker than they were anticipating.
And I suppose it doesn't help that Malaysia is Malaysia is quite a naturally abrasive track surface anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely. That combination of just super high temperatures compared to what we've seen at other points and other circuits, and that surface, it's just kind of a spiral effect, and it's that domino effect of effectively the worst of both worlds for everything, and you're really seeing that in action here.
Whereas I think some of the other tracks that we go to, where we've usually got quite hot temperatures, such as Jerez, Spain, or Bahrain, generally I think the tracks themselves are a little bit gentler on the tyres, are they not?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just one of those combinations that has proven that it's actually quite a unique combination in Formula Virtual, certainly.
Yeah, well, it certainly makes for interesting racing, as we see there James Vasquez defending, I think, from Felix Perez.
He is, and we do. But Perez is all over the back of him. It's only going to be a matter of time. Looks a lot like when the Westwood and the first used to battle a few years ago. Oh, massive sideways moment there from Perez.
Yeah, that was a huge snap from Felix Perez there then. And incredibly held on, but here we go into the pits. The race leader, Enrique Ruiz, and it's 3 laps too short for the one stop. 2 laps too short, sorry, for the one stop. And yeah, so all the hard tyre runners are going to be on the 2-stopper. It's a 3-stop for the mediums. Klaas van Snelheid then is surely going to fancy his chances now. Is he going to be able to get through and into the race lead? Yes, he is. Klaas goes through then. Ruiz will rejoin in 2nd place, and I think Powers has lost out in the pits to Will Hoskins. Rob, did you see anything?
Yeah, I think so. It was quite a good stop for everybody involved there, but what we're looking at now is I think it's about a 23-24 second delta for the pit lane, for the pit stop. So going down the pit lane, changing the tyres and coming back out. So you're looking now that Klaas needs to pull out about 20 seconds to be able to make that pit stop and come back out in the fight.
What about in terms of Powers losing the position to Will Hoskins, because he's now 2 seconds back?
I just think it's one of the symptoms of the way that the Formula Virtual Pit Lane works, with all the different cars in different places effectively. I think it's just unlucky timing of his pit lane location compared to the first driver.
Unfortunate then for Nathaniel Powers, put a lot of effort in to try and take back what was then 2nd position. He's now lost that and is in the clutches of Adrian Simon, who will be desperate to try and make that up and get himself up into what was 2nd position to form a Mattershore Porsche 1-2. But it's Klaas van Snelheid leading up front then at the moment, and well, he will desperately be hoping he can start to pull a bit of a gap, because I think he suddenly sensed the chance here in Malaysia that earlier on it didn't really look like was there.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to work really hard to try and bring his tyres back to him, whilst also keeping Ruiz at a reasonable distance, and then bring those tyres back enough to actually push ahead and create a bigger gap. But if he does all those things, then yeah, I think he's on for a really good shout, as Simon's got a fantastic slipstream down the straight.
Yeah, and look at that then, that just goes to show the power that the Porsche engine has. Nathaniel Powers hangs it around the outside of turn 1. Simon's going to come back on the outside of turn 2, but nothing doing. Powers holds the place.
Yeah, some fantastic driving there from the two of them. That's a long stop for Halverson. I think he got held for the Chima.
Yeah, I think that was it, and I should imagine then, looking back, as Rob said, it's a consequence of the pit lane and how the stops work here in Formula Virtual, and that was probably what cost Powers. Oh, it's Adrian Simon, very, very sideways there through the fast left-hander, and that will Powers would be grateful for that. It's given him a bit of breathing room.
I'm noticing something interesting here that I noticed last race as well. The front runners generally fall 1 lap shorter, like in terms of stint length, than the midfield and the back markers do. If you notice, we just had all the hard side runners in like below the top 10 coming for their stops exactly a lap after. We also had with the medium tyres, anyone below the top 10 also came in exactly a lap after as well.
Yeah, most definitely. It's something we've seen before, as Enrique Ruiz puts in a fast lap on the hard tyres, and I don't think Klaas, I'll get back to your comment in a minute, Klaas is going to have absolutely nothing to defend with, I should imagine. He's trying to hang it around the outside of turn 1 then, but Ruiz is going to have, they are hard tyres, but they are fresher, and he can just drive clean around the outside and back into the lead then.
Yeah, Klaas trying everything he could, even putting Ruiz slightly on the grass there, just trying to make that gap as tight as possible, but Ruiz had the grip and the balls and he got it done.
But Klaas can only be another few laps from his second stop, can't he?
He pitted on what, lap 16?
I think?
Aye.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But yeah, so those tyres are getting on a bit now, and as we just showed, he couldn't use them to fight off Enrique Ruiz. But yeah, I think, you know, we've seen before, you know, drivers on the same tyres pitting a lap or so apart, but it's always been quite random before, quite mixed throughout the field as to who those are that come in first and who those are that come in the lap after. But I say, as you say, this year we are definitely seeing, at least in these opening 2 races, a correlation between the cars at the front and making a slightly earlier pit stop.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, I'm glad you got it out.
It's interesting to see, but you can't imagine that it's got its roots in strategy in any way at all. I just wonder if perhaps it's because the front running cars perhaps are just pushing their tyres harder naturally because they're faster.
Yeah, very possibly, very possibly.
We could always throw down to our pit lane expert who probably has a good explanation. Should we do that?
Oh, I reckon so. He almost definitely does.
Yes, Robert, give us knowledge.
So I think the one way to attribute this is the fact that you've got the aerodynamics and the engine.
Hang on a sec, Rob. Sorry, there's a long yellow flag in the final set. Oh, it's gone in now. You can carry on.
Yeah, no worries. I think the way I'd probably look at it is that the engine regulations and the aero regulations are pretty much completely open in Formula Virtual, but up until now, and indeed for the rest of this season, the chassis regs are extremely tight indeed, such that really if there's any intrinsic tyre wear, because as you say, you're going more quickly, you must be pushing the tyres harder. It's very limited changes you can make to the chassis to then try and dial some of that tyre use out. So it might just be a case that, as you say, they're going faster because they're pushing their tyres harder, particularly the cars that have good aerodynamics. They must just be using them more, and there's no way to really rectify that.
Do you know what I love? That actually makes sense to me.
Well, do you know what I love? Rob just told me I was right.
Yeah, try not to do that again.
It's going to completely go to my head now. Oh, Simon, what a run on Powers he's got here.
Yeah, once again then, Adrian Simon down the inside. Powers looks as though he's going to hold it around the outside of turn 1. Once again then, Simon's going to try around the outside of turn 2. And he's got a better run this time. But no, still not quite. Powers holds on to the position. The pair of them scrapping though are allowing Will Hoskins to scamper away a little. He's very much sustaining a 3.5 second gap now.
Like a little badger.
Yeah.
Now we're past the halfway point in this V-Prix, Bradley. You know what I'm going to say next. It's Malaysia and we've still not had any retirements.
What? That's unbelievable. We managed this in Japan as well.
Yeah, crazy. So
and then I mentioned it and Wagner retired.
Also on a completely unrelated note, Rob, you've got some info on us Info on us? Hell no.
He's got info on us. No, don't throw down. Don't throw down.
Simon's lack of overtaking ability there.
Yeah, I've got plenty of information on both of you as well. Don't worry. I think it's Simon in particular from the last couple of laps, but I think anyone that's getting a good run and getting the overspeed on the pit straight into turn 1, because they're getting so much, because they got 5-10 kilometers an hour more. I think we're going to see it here as they go past me. That extra speed, they've got to scrub it off to get to the apex, and I think what's happening.
Oh, there's contact.
Simon, they're both round.
Yeah, round then go Adrian Simon and Nathaniel Powers at turn 1. The two of them have come together from 4th and 5th place, and that is surely going to allow Elroy Wagner through past the both of them, and it does. And Wagner goes through into 4th then.
That was close. I actually thought Wagner was going to pull off a pair of them, but they both managed to get off the circuit at the last second. Sorry, Rob.
Well, I think that might have just proved my point before I had a chance to make it. I think what's happening is that they've got the overspeed. Do you want to call over the replay here?
Yes.
Yeah, so here we go then. So Simon was down the inside, but Powers braked later, and I think there was he just didn't quite leave a car's width for Adrian on the inside, and the wheels just hooked together, and that was what sent them off the track.
Yeah, so
braking force into a wedge, I guess.
Yeah. Basically, what I think's happening here is that because they've got to scrub that extra speed off, if they're doing it consistently 2 or 3 laps, they might be starting to experience a bit of brake fade. So what I think's happening is Adrian Simon is braking earlier into turn 1 so that he can scrub that extra speed off with essentially brakes that are cooking, which means that Powers every single time gets that later braking move, and as you've seen there, it sometimes ends in tears.
Do you reckon it's at all possible that also that effect is actually compounded by the fact that he's not really getting out of the dirty air except for when he makes the move, so those brakes are having a bit of a harder time cooling down?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that this is a very much a brake limited circuit. It has been in pretty much every series that's raced here, and I think we're seeing it in full effect today.
Brilliant, thanks for that, Rob. As Adrian Simon then is into the pits, so must have picked up some damage in that incident. Rob?
Yeah, I think one of the front wing end plates was a little bit deranged there. I've just seen RTR absolutely gesticulating across to some of your boys there, Bradley. We'll have to discuss that one after the race.
Yeah.
Well, this actually could be okay, because how long did they make it? They made it, what, 26 laps, 25 laps?
That is a very good point.
Like 24, 25 laps left. He won't have to pit again. And he's just made it stop nice and early as well. Clear air. This could, well, not really, actually. I've just seen Vasquez in front of him. But after that, some air.
Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right there. I think that it's similar to almost what happened to Powers in Fuji. It's not the ideal situation, of course, but make the best of it for definitely.
Yeah, you've both just stolen my points. I think, if anything, this is probably going to work out slightly better for Simon than it did in Powers, than it did for Powers in Fuji, because it didn't look as though he lost any time there, more so than he would in a normal pit stop.
No, I have to say it was a very quick stop, just gluing the end plate back on, I guess, then, but...
As Klaas van Snelheid, dives in from third then, from second he was, sorry. That allows Will Hoskins through. I'll tell you what this has done, that's allowed the small incident between Powers and Simon. Well, Hoskins is well away in second now, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
As Adrian Simon already fighting his way back through the field, then as Klaas van Snelheid rejoins in 5th, just behind his teammate.
Look at that rip, never mind.
There, Simon breezes past Vasquez, and Vasquez bails for the pit lane.
Yeah, Simon's man on a mission now, I think. I quite fancy his chances, I won't lie to you.
Yeah, it could be good then for Simon here to... well, who's he got in front of him on the hard tyres? Don't forget he's got Klaas as well. Klaas has to make another pit stop, but he's a reasonable distance ahead. Yeah, Simon could be putting these hard tyres to good use.
Sorry to cut across, but Giordano and Alvarez getting very close there under braking as Perez now looks for a way past the pair of them.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all.
What are they doing on the same bit of track?
Who?
Alvarez and Giordano. Alvarez had his front wing thing earlier, didn't he?
He did, yes. And they've still got Perez behind them. Perez has had a really bad race.
He's only just pitted.
Yeah, but he started in front of Klaas,
Yeah, he's not.
And he's now 40 seconds behind him.
I have to admit, obviously he did perform fairly well against Hoskins in their one race together last season, but so far it looks like he's almost been a bit spooked by his more experienced
Well, I don't know,
teammate, and
he
he's just...
absolutely outperformed Hoskins in Japan.
Did he?
Yeah.
Was I thinking
Out-qualified,
of
out-raced.
Oh,
Boom,
I could
done.
be thinking of a different... Never mind. Carry on.
But yeah, so don't quite know what's happened with Felix Perez here in Malaysia then. Behind him as Adrian Simon pops in the fastest lap then, so he is making the use of those fresh hard tyres. But yeah, slightly toward further back, Alar Kanga also somewhat struggling to come through the field. He's 16th, and Hunter Ryan as well, still down in 23rd.
Yeah, just wondering if maybe Ryan might have picked up like some niggling damage after he clarted both Ledesma and Beckenbauer in one fell swoop, so...
Almost certainly, yeah.
Yellow flag in the final sector, as that is trying to see who's losing time.
We've got
Addison
Giordano in the
slow,
pits. Yeah,
and
that looks like
and
Nick
Menicali.
Addison then. It's Addison that is falling down the order.
They both had to go in the pits. I wonder if the Franklins have had some kind of contact.
I don't know, well this is the medium tyres, so this is about when they should be making their stop. Given Klaas came in last lap.
Yeah, but we saw the yellow flag and they were both slowing down. I could be wrong. Oh wait, Addison was away in front of Domenicali. That would make sense.
Yeah.
That's a shame for Franklin. Addison he was having a fantastic race actually.
Yeah, he really was, but it looks though as something has gone on then that has cost Addison some time, as back up towards the front, Nathaniel Powers stalking Elroy Wagner, looks to the inside, goes for the inside, brakes later. Wagner is going to try and hold it around the outside, and I think he might just do it as Rob explained earlier why that works. But Powers comes back at him around the outside of turn 2. Surely Wagner though will have the traction on the exit. I don't know, I think Powers is just about got his front wing still alongside Wagner's rear wheel then. Nathaniel Powers has the inside line into turn 4. Wagner tries to shut the door, Powers doesn't take it. Powers up the inside, Klaas around the outside, and Wagner gets absolutely mugged.
Yeah, Wagner's not going to be happy about not going to be happy about that one. Klaas very opportunistic there. I think based on what Rob's just said, I think the drivers know now that their best chance is to get that move done straight off the bat as soon as they can, because the more often they have to attempt it, the less likely it is to happen. But fantastic driving by the pair of Downton drivers there.
But Wagner's going to be wondering what the hell just happened. It's orange left and orange right. Oh, brilliant! I loved that one. Well done, lad.
It was rather decent bit of racing, if you don't mind my saying so. Apologies for the language, but blooming heck.
God, was bloody brilliant. As Adrian Simon still making the most of his time, he's trimmed 4 seconds off the gap between himself and race leader Ruiz then. So he's absolutely making the most of this one now. And what does that put? What did we say? Sorry, Rob. What did we say roughly was for a pit stop? As actually, I'm just going to interrupt myself. Klaas van Snelheid down the inside of Nathaniel Powers into turn 1. Then Powers going to hang it around the outside, but Klaas has the fresher and softer tyres. Will get the outside of turn 2, and I think he's going to get that one done even before turn 3, and he does indeed. Klaas through into 3rd place then, and now with some clear air to make use of those medium tyres. Is Powers going to come back at him though? Nathaniel Powers not going to let this one go. Klaas van Snelheid covers the middle of the road though, and Powers can do nothing about it. Yeah, sorry, Rob. What did we say roughly the time was for the pit loss?
It looks about 23 seconds to me. It's very rough, obviously, but yeah, I think that it's all very marginal at the moment. I think that if Powers is going to play the team game, he wants to let Klaas go as much as he can without trying to battle him.
Oh, most definitely. But what he also wants to do is go with him, because Adrian Simon is only 16 seconds back, and as far as we believe, as long as he doesn't have any further incidents, can make it to the end of the race.
Absolutely.
Simon could firmly be walking himself into a solid 3rd place on the podium here.
Yes. I didn't really have a lot more to add to that, really. There's just, you made all the points.
As what else have we got going on then behind the top 5? Well, we've got Simon in 6th. Halverson is having a solid race at the moment in 7th, looking to pick up some points for North Star. Zveranas seems to have been not particularly great all day, but he's still there in 8th.
Yeah, he's just getting the job done, just trying to bring some points home, I guess. I'm most impressed by Kinnaman at the moment, riding up in 12th position. Obviously, he's benefited from the misfortune of those in front, but yeah, he's doing really well to hold on to it at the moment.
Maybe we should.
What?
What?
Yeah, no, yeah. So, Rob, what have you just? Oh, makes more sense. We've just spoken to you live on air about something that the viewers have no
down the
idea
inside.
about.
Sorry, down the inside of Felix Perez is no. That's Perez going past Kinnaman. Sorry, then, and
Yep.
Kinnaman trying to defend 12th position, but I don't think he's going to manage that one. Perez is in a far
unless
quicker
he
car and on
launches-
far quicker tyres.
Yeah, no. Fresher tyres, probably slightly more powerful power unit. Yeah, and Alvarez, I think that's getting passed by Kanga there. Yeah.
Yeah, Kanga continuing to make some moves and climb up the field.
I just wonder if maybe Alvarez got some lasting damage as well as like the same way Ryan did, because he's definitely not been on the same kind of level, like pace-wise, since he had that little incident.
Yeah, almost definitely.
So
And I
definitely
think Kanga as well.
a couple of-
When he was punted off on the opening lap by Zylander.
Yeah.
I think we've got a few wounded vehicles out. While we might not have had
I was
any
about to
retirement
say
yet, I think we've got a few wounded vehicles out there.
Yeah, which means it's only a matter of time before someone conks out. Ooh, yeah, that car kind of looked like it was on skates at the rear there.
Didn't it just? Where was I gonna... Oh, yes, Kinnaman.
Skinny man.
Something that I think we're seeing again now that he's moved on to Chima, but that was, you know, up till now, with the exception of last year, I think it's fair to say Kinnaman's only really ever been in a midfield or mid to front running car at best, as that's James Vazquez looking to the inside of Alvarez, but Alvarez firmly slices him off in the middle of turn 1, and that's going to be a no-go, or is it? No, Vazquez. Absolutely brilliant there.
Struggling so much on corner exit that Vasquez has caught him back up again.
Yeah, within half a corner. That's a brilliant effort, but I don't think he's going to make anything of it. And unfortunately, no, not quite. He isn't. But maybe later in the lap or next time around. Yeah, I think with Kinnaman, it's fair to say until last year he'd never really been in a proper front-running car. It was always, you know, midfield, solid midfield cars. Don't get me wrong, or you know, mid to front-running.
Bradley being careful to not insult my cars. I mean, he was in the 2015 Westwood, like, at the end of the season for, like, what, 3 races where it was probably the best car on the grid, but other than that, you're absolutely right. He's not been in a front-running car.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Until last year, when he ended up, and up till that point, I mean, you know, I've obviously had my own views on Timo Kinnaman, but a lot of the paddock have always been under the impression that Kinnaman is actually, you know, a very, very capable driver. And I think, you know, while in those cars that weren't last year's, frankly, he put in some damn phenomenal performances that he did. And even I've got to admit that. But then last year, when he finally got into that car that was, you know, right at the top of the field, it just didn't quite work. You know, admittedly he had one of the toughest teammates we've probably got in the series, but I think even without Ruiz, that car was probably the quickest on the grid, but he couldn't beat the 2 Downtons on a regular basis. Now that he's back in a car that's somewhere around the midfield though, I think he's really showing his class again.
I mean, I think we have a very, very simple explanation for that, I'll be honest. He was surrounded by 3 drivers who've spent the last few years just reaping in bonuses from race wins, pole positions, this, that and the other, where he's not had access to those bonuses. As soon as he gets back to a level where he's around drivers who've also not had those bonuses, he's now once again showing that he's rather a talented driver. He's just, unfortunately, it's too late in his career, I think. He's not had that chance to race with like other drivers of that caliber, so he's not had the same development curve.
That's a really fair point.
I think, for one, like, while he was thoroughly shown the way by Ruiz, I still think he did a decently admirable job. He did suffer a bit of misfortune, but yeah, I think a lot of people were expecting him to be quicker and severely underestimated the effect that driving at the front for your whole career does have on your performance level.
Can I play devil's advocate here, though?
I mean, go on then.
Being in midfield cars for the last few seasons doesn't seem to have done Hoskins much harm.
That is because he has what you think. He won races in his first season, he won races in his second season. Pretty sure he won a race for fun.
Oh, we did.
We got
That's a
Alvarez
point.
in the pits. So he has been quietly still collecting the bonuses. Admittedly, don't get me wrong, like in a much more impressive way, because he's been doing it in, except for the Franklin years, cars that really shouldn't have been sticking out there. But yeah, he has still been breaking in those bonuses.
Yeah, that's true. He did, and he picked up a pole position at one point as well, didn't he? With the fun team, I think. Was it
Yes,
in
he did.
2016?
2016 was their year, yeah, their quick boy year.
Quick boy, yeah.
That's what I like to call it. Like I had 2015 and 2017 as my quick boy years. You've had more slow boy years than quick boy years.
No, I don't think we have anymore.
Well, I suppose it's starting to level out now, but
No, I definitely think we're heavily in favour of better years than we are worse. 2013 was a bit of a shambles, although we did pick up a podium somehow.
we don't talk about Franklin, Downton prior to 2017.
Well, I'm about to, as that is Perez making a move on
Perez.
Thierry Zylander for 11th place. Nice and easy, as you like, at the final corner. Done, dusted.
Oh no!
Never mind.
Then he conks out.
Yeah, that's incredibly unfortunate for Felix Perez then. If, as we were saying earlier, he wasn't having the best of races, but well, that's a pretty shite way for it to end.
Yeah. Rob, any info particular on that, or?
Yeah, I was having a wander down the pit wall, and I stopped behind the Ingram garage and was peering over their shoulder at the TV coverage, and you can see that Perez was visibly lifting in the toe. So I don't know whether there was some sort of temperature warning that he was getting, that he actually did need to kind of pull out from all of the slipstream moves that he was trying, but pretty catastrophic problem there for the Ford power unit.
Yeah, I'm sure you could hear that one going wrong. As Nathaniel Powers just putting a lap on the Franklin of Enzo Domenicali there then. But yeah, so Felix Perez becomes the first retirement of the 2020 Malaysian V-Prix, and it's taken until lap 41.
Yeah, I mean, quite late really, because obviously we've had a couple of seasons now.
As we've got a yellow flag in the middle sector, and it seems pretty consistent. Oh, that's another one then. That's Nikolai Milkovic in the Chima, and his engine has gone pop as well. So we've had one Ford and one Alfa Romeo, and there was a Meteor that was flying past without a front wing. So I assume there had been some contact there then. As here we go, we've got a replay then on board with Nikolai Milkovic, and yeah, you can see the engine just letting go, and that was one of the that was Giordano getting past, and oh, so I think that was what we just seen there then, was Alvarez slowing, and I believe it was Felix Bayer who'd missed it, and had, I can only imagine from before the replay cut off, creamed into the back of Sergio Alvarez, and has really cost himself there.
Yes, not very good.
I think you did very well not to laugh there. I'm very impressed.
Thank you. I was doing my best.
As yeah, Bayer is forced into the pits then for a new nose cone. But Alvarez looks as though he's gotten away from it. Has Hoskins caught up to Ruiz a little bit? I'm sure that gap was some 4 or 5 seconds.
What's it at now, just in case I can't exactly see?
It's at 3.5. Have we got some technical issues?
We have got some very technical, difficult issues.
Oh dear. As we go on board then with Alar Kanga down the pit straight, breezing past Tumo Kinnaman and up into 12th place. Kinnaman late on the brakes into turn 1, just avoids hitting the back end of Kanga, who sweeps across in front of him then. And Kanga carries on his way to 12th. So up at the front then, we've got Ruiz leading then on lap 44 of the Malaysian V-Prix. Got 3.5 seconds back to Will Hoskins. Klaas van Snelheid in third then. He's making something of these medium tyres, but I just don't think it's enough. He's 13 seconds clear of Adrian Simon. That's absolutely nowhere near going to be enough for a pit stop. And the tyres just don't seem to have the pace. As anyone?
Hi Bradley, I'm hearing from our race TV director that there are some issues at the moment with some of the coverage. I can step in from the pit lane if you like.
I think that would be wonderful for the time being, as yeah, we normally have them. We normally have them. The issues here in Malaysia. Normally it's because of the thunderstorms. But here it would appear the heat is getting to everything.
I am hearing a rumour that there is a thunderstorm about 50 kilometres northeast of the circuit, which might be causing some issues to the infrastructure around here.
Sorry, that was Enrique Ruiz getting a big snap of oversteer then into the penultimate corner, but he's just held on to it. And yeah, a thunderstorm 50 kilometres away from here would absolutely make sense.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit more humid as well. I've just managed to walk back up to the to our pit box at Mothershaw Porsche. I've taken my seat again, and so I'll be up here until Lilly gets back.
Fantastic. Well, we shall hope that can sort itself out. We are having some technical difficulties here in the box, but we do have one screen, and I am very much hogging it at the moment. As riding on board then with Enrique Ruiz. Beautiful sound from that Porsche engine.
Yeah, the V12 motor really sings. It's quite a brilliant piece of engineering, and I'm not saying that because I was involved in the engineering process. The guys at Porsche Motorsport and Weissach have done an incredible job with it. And hopefully, over the course of the season, we'll be able to give that engine the chassis and the teamwork that it deserves.
Most definitely. As just behind them, I'm sure Adrian Simon got to within half a minute of Ruiz, but he now seems to be about 34 seconds back. So not entirely sure what's going on there.
I think we're starting to see the back markers really coming into play again.
Of course, yep.
I think Alvarez is the next up, but I think Ledesma's the previous one, and I don't know whether he's possibly a little bit rusty with the blue flag situation, because it's been a bit of a while since he's been out on track in Formula Virtual at least.
Yeah, almost definitely actually. That's a very, very, very good point.
Because I believe the last competitive motorsport he was doing was some virtual GT racing, and of course in some championships like that there's an awful lot less impetus on the car that's being lapped to move out of the way, so it might be that he's simply just a little bit out of practice.
Well, could be. That's, I think he's just a little bit rubbish, to be honest.
I don't know, because probably he had that big problem when he got the wiped out. Was it Hunter Ryan the wiped him out? I can't remember.
I don't think Ledesma's had a tremendous issue in the race so far.
Oh, okay. He's still, I don't know, I'd say he's been thoroughly decent.
Adrian Simon then. This might be why he's lost pace. He's back into the pits, so he's not going to make it to the end then.
No. Hang on, I'll give you a second to look at the telemetry. There's nothing immediately jumping out at me. I'll have a word with the guy sitting next to me, and I can come back to you a couple of laps with that potentially.
Yeah, we'd that would be appreciated. So, Adrian Simon then, who had that incident with Powers, and I wonder if it's a case then of what we've seen, or what we appear to have seen with other cars, where ones that have been involved in incidents and have had to make, out of sync pit stops, have also picked up damage that has resulted in them having to make more and sooner stops later on down the line as well.
Yeah, so I've just had a quick word while you were saying that to his race engineer there, and apparently there was a slow puncture that might have been forming on the rear right.
So safer just to
absolutely, there was
take
a gap
the hit
to drop
now.
him into without losing too much time based on the remainder of the race. So rather not go backwards because of that than have the risk going forward, but risk the retirement as well with the blowout.
I'm assuming the stop was slightly longer than expected though, because he has come out just behind Zviranas.
Yeah, we had to get the tyres out pretty sharpish there. It was only well into the third sector that we realised that there was going to be an issue.
Okie dokie. So I'm sure he will dispatch the Lithuanian fairly swiftly, as we have a yellow flag in the final sector. If anything, you know it's not Adrian Simon because you can see him on screen, and in fact it's gone in already.
It was Ala Kanga. He's just dropped 4 places and lost about 10 seconds.
Oh, he's not had the best of races here today, has he? It's been very unfortunate.
Very much one extreme to the other for the poor Estonian there.
Isn't it just as Adrian Simon down the inside of Zviranas at turn 1, and he's made that one work then. He's on the fresh medium tyres compared to the now rather worn fresh hard tyres, sorry, compared to the rather worn mediums, and indeed Kanga's little incident has forced him into the pits once again.
Yeah, I think it's very mixed fortune, isn't it? So far for Kanga this season, obviously absolute highs, but to be fair, the Lopez looks like it's got some really good pace in it with Wagner in 5th.
Yeah, Elroy Wagner absolutely holding his own in 5th position there, and I dare say Kanga would be around there if he hadn't had to make umpteen pit stops after goodness knows how many incidents. Okie dokie, currently on lap 48 then here in Malaysia. We're following Ala Kanga, who's just had to make another stop, and he is running down in 16th at the moment.
Looking at the timing screen in front of me, I think it's pretty impressive. You turn around for North Star as well. Obviously, when they're on a strategy that suits the circuit, suits the conditions, and suits the rest of the field, they actually have got pretty good pace in the car by the look of it. And to be honest, I'm quite relatively impressed with Garcia, because he is just under 20 seconds off his teammate, but he's thoroughly in the mix. He's been fighting all day and pulled off some good overtaking moves.
Yeah, he certainly has. Garcia is, well, he's driven far better today than he did in Japan. Admittedly, in Japan, you know, he had the problems with the tyres, but he got slated quite a bit after the race. He's only 16 or so seconds back from his teammate now in this one.
Absolutely.
As Enrique restarts lap 49 then here in Malaysia. Still leading the way now, some 5 seconds clear of Hoskins, as that's contact between Ala Kanga and Puccio Giordano once again at turn 1.
Yeah, that's hello. I'm welcome back to me. Finally managed to get some of my technical issues sorted. My apologies for that.
I'm just going to cut across you again into the pits then for what should be his final stop. Comes Klaas van Snelheid from 3rd. Rob, do you want to call it?
Yeah, I'm just looking down from my seat on the pit box, and it looks like a pretty routine stop. Yeah, good work from the Downton boys there. A little bit of a hold on the right rear tyre, but nothing major at all. It's going to come out comfortably in 5th position.
Yeah, he very much is. Klaas van Snelheid then is, well, absolutely well out there, and that should put him, once he pits, comfortably back ahead of Wagner and probably Powers as well. Have they already pitted? Actually, if the Hard Tunnel Rollers already made their final stops, I think they have, haven't they?
I don't know.
No, they haven't, because it was lap 20
for like
something.
half a year.
No, they haven't actually.
No, I don't think they have. I think at that point, Klaas van Snelheid get a couple of seconds up the road, maybe, you know, good 5 seconds while Hoskins on the old tyres possibly loses some time. He has got every chance of second.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I'll tell you who else is in for a really strong result for where they're at. Kinnaman is currently running in 10th place. I'm pretty sure he's going to drop back in the pit stops, but he's very close to scoring some pretty, well, a point, but a very good result for Chima at this this second V-Prix. Opening V-Prix? We did one last week. What's wrong with me?
I think the heat's not just getting to the equipment, but to all of us as well.
Yeah, I only brought one glass of water. Oh, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3. It's a big one.
Yeah, it does seem to be there a while. Do we notice anything on the tower on the left-hand side then?
Halverson, and yeah, that's Halverson.
Oh, and indeed it is, and for some reason he is...
just been collected him, no, maybe not.
No, Halverson facing the wrong way in the middle of the circuit then, and I dare say, that looks like some kind of brake failure. There's no significant problem coming out of that. On board then.
Engine just seemed to have like seized on him almost, just swapped the rear on him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and it was Adrian Simon who was the first one to come across him then. So that is Halverson, we suspect, out with an engine failure, and two of the Fords then. With issues already here today in Malaysia. I'm going to be honest, I'm stunned it's not been a Porsche.
Thanks, Brad.
There is still time, however, I do know I have reliably informed the guy next to me that we have a pit stop from Enrique Ruiz.
You do indeed. Ruiz enters the pit lane now, and I think Hoskins is following him, so we'll leave you to call these ones.
Yeah, so Ruiz just coming in. I'm sitting opposite where he's going to stop, because we've placed our pit prep perch properly. Stop. I think it's, to be honest, it's a routine pit stop. He has been slightly held there by the Westwood, but he's away out, and Hoskins about 4 seconds additional there. I think Hoskins was stopped in terms of not additional, sorry, the margin as he exits the pit lane, and yeah, 4.2 seconds as he crosses the speed limiter line.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ruiz and Hoskins pit from first and second and come back out in those positions. Klaas van Snelheid goes through comfortably into third place. Powers rejoins in fourth, and Elroy Wagner, I think it's going to be a little bit close between him and Adrian Simon. Where indeed then Simon comes down the pit straight. Wagner leaves the pit lane, but Wagner does indeed take it then. So Wagner in fifth place, Adrian Simon right behind him though. They'll
yellow flag in the middle section.
Yeah, oh, Hoskins from second. Hoskins was only 5 seconds back from Enrique Ruiz then, and that has allowed Klaas van Snelheid through into second place because Hoskins has had some kind of incident.
Yeah, very.
It's Ledesma.
Yeah, Ledesma must have bumped in there.
So what could be the second time there for Ledesma causing an issue with the flag situation?
Oh, yellow flag in the first sector.
Yeah, hopefully we get a replay of that one then. But Zylander. Oh, well, that was totally Will's fault.
Not what I expected.
That was absolutely Hoskins' fault then. Turned in on Ledesma. Klaas van Snelheid arrived on the scene and just had to check up to avoid hitting Hoskins, but dealt with that fantastically to then make the pass. But Will Hoskins now stalking him. But yeah, I think that's Zylander. It is! Thierry Zylander, for the first time in his Formula Virtual career then, retires from a race, and that's a huge shame.
Yeah, you do not love to see that.
At least he's got it out the way now though.
Yeah, true.
He doesn't have that fear of, you know, being the driver who's never retired. As Will Hoskins goes back past Klaas van Snelheid.
He was determined to get that second place. He knows he's probably not on for that win, especially now. But yeah, determined to keep that second position on the rostrum.
Yeah, isn't he just? And well, classes on the mediums, they are slightly older, but not significantly, so the tyres should be quicker. But Hoskins absolutely making those fresh, hard tyres work. And Klaas has suddenly lost quite a bit of time to him.
Yeah, about a whole second and a half. That's not usual. Maybe his tyres are going off? No, he's already...
But they've only just pitted.
I've got nothing.
He's 2 seconds back now. Klaas van Snelheid, I wonder if there's an issue there then with the Downton, because he is absolutely losing time here.
He's hemorrhaging time. He's hemorrhaging time, not physically. Yikes.
You can see it. You can visibly see it as well. The gap that Hoskins has pulled out as Kinnaman pits and rejoins in 12th. Beckenbauer pits as well. And
Klaas has definitely got an issue.
I wonder if he's got a puncture.
Oh, we might do actually, yeah.
I wonder if there was some debris on the track from the Hoskins-Ledesma incident, and Klaas van Snelheid just picked up a puncture. Let's have a look then. Is he going to dive into the pits at the end of the lap? You can only assume he will. He's lost so much time that would not have been expected.
Now, if he doesn't dive in the pits, that does mean
He hasn't, no, because this is
puncture.
Wagner and Simon coming round.
So we got a yellow. I think that's going to be Klaas retiring. No. So who's in sector 1? Ruiz, Hoskins, these boys. As Simon sails past under yellow flags.
Well, we don't know where they are in the section.
Ah, good point.
Yeah, we haven't seen a car parked up here, so I'd...
So it's
Matton's in the pits.
It's got to be here then. 'Cause that's the
That's really not helpful. As we cut to Jean Matton in the pits, there was a yellow flag there briefly in the middle sector as well.
Giordano.
Oh yes, Puccio Giordano then has listed on the tower with a DNF next to his name, and Giordano becomes the 5th retirement here in Malaysia. We didn't have any 10 laps ago.
Yeah, until someone mentioned it.
Well, you mentioned it first.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
As Klaas van Snelheid now nearly 6 seconds behind Hoskins in just a handful of laps, and he's got his teammate all over the back of him. You can't imagine this one's going to be a particularly difficult fight for Powers.
No, I'm quite surprised that Klaas is still bulking his teammates so much. He's clearly just trying to limp it home, so he should be allowing Powers through. Because this is now back in the pair of them after Simon.
And Wagner. Wagner's right there in 6th. But yeah, there we go, Powers.
Ooh, made him do it the hard way.
Yeah, Powers though breezes around the outside, so it seems to be in the corners then that Klaas is struggling, because he brakes really early there into the hairpin.
Well, we did talk earlier about how this is a very brake limited circuit, and just wonder if perhaps that might be what's wrong. And we did also see that, oh no, that was engine seize over actual lock. But yeah, perhaps Klaas's brakes just getting away from him a bit here.
Yeah, and maybe it's a case that the team have told him to back off and try and just, you know, get the car to the end rather than risk a retirement.
Yeah, better to finish with some points than to not finish with any.
Most definitely, especially given we have just 3 laps to go here now then in Malaysia. They started off a little bit static, but it's definitely picked up in the second half, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's gotten a little crazy, a little wild.
Mind you, Ruiz has absolutely run away with this one.
Yes. It was a lot closer before Hoskins had that contact, to be fair.
It was, yes.
But also that contact was Hoskins' fault for just pinching on the apex a bit, so I guess it evens out. But yeah, he's been driving pretty impressively, just yeah, up the front, unchallenged, more or less, except for the start of the race.
Yeah, I think Ruiz is probably just trying to find his way through traffic, because both Hoskins and Powers have taken a second out of him. But also, Klaas's pace seems to have picked up a little bit again now. He's somewhat stuck with Powers since he's been passed by his teammate.
Yeah, I think that whatever he might have been losing in the corners, he's either the problem has corrected itself, or he's just gaining back that time on the straights in the slipstream with his teammate that is just perhaps masking the time lost slightly.
Yeah, Rob, a little birdie told me that you were at Downton. Have you got any information?
Yes. Certainly, apparently the engine temperature warning came on a couple of laps ago, and rather than risk it and face a similar kind of issues that Perez was facing by staying in the slipstream with his Ford-powered first car, they've just elected to, as you say, just drop it off a little bit, bring it home, and then now the temperatures are reduced again, he's been able to bring it back up to full pace.
Well, I'm very grateful for that one. Well, that does mean he's just got lost out on a podium, which is a shame, but there we go.
Well, he could have lost out on
all his
anything.
points, indeed.
Yeah, so hopefully he'll be counting himself lucky.
As what have we got then? Have we got any fights going on in the last couple of laps? We've got Ruiz, who is clearly clear and gone. Is only scrapping with back markers. oh!
That's a bit close for comfort.
Blimey, that's not Ruiz. That's Adrian Simon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, sorry, apologies. I thought that was the race leader then, but it's not. It's Simon defending from Elroy Wagner as well. As Ruiz starts the final lap here then in Malaysia. He's got Hoskins some 24 seconds behind. Hoskins is actually catching back up now then. But
not quite enough, I don't think.
Almost definitely. Powers looks fairly comfortable in third with his teammate behind him. I don't think there are going to be any further scraps between those two. Simon and Wagner back in 5th and 6th. Zviranas looks pretty set for 7th, which is going to be his best result. Admittedly, he's only had 2 races, but, you know, there we go. Mats and 8th, Garcia 9th, a few seconds behind. There might be a bit of a scrap between Vasquez and Kanga for 10th.
To be fair,
maybe.
If Halar Kanga gets a top 10 finish after everything that's happened to him this race, that is a bloody good effort.
Oh, absolutely. True. It would be a phenomenal result. Kanga's had the race from hell, and most of it not through his own doing.
After all what's happened, the extra stops and all, and he's only 40 seconds back from Wagner. That is some pretty mighty going. Yeah, it certainly is. It's been a great race from Kanga, but, well, last time out he was the winner. He isn't today, though. Enrique Ruiz rounds the final corner. He's absolutely controlled it from the front, and as the rest fell away behind him, Ruiz wins then for Mathishaw Porsche. It's their first win of the season. Mathishaw's first win with the German Giants, and Ruiz takes it. It's his first win outside of a Franklin, and they will be celebrating that one then down in the Mathishaw garage, as first will be just a few pit garages down in the pit lane, because Will Hoskins is going to take 2nd place, and that's a brilliant result for them then, one that they would very much have been looking at. Nathaniel Powers from pole position takes the final step on the podium just ahead of his teammate Adrian Simon, and Elroy Wagner finish in formation in 5th and 6th, and it's going to be Dominikas Zviranas across the line in 7th. We're going to have to wait a while. He's also apparently Australian now. But there we go. Yeah. So this is a very traditionally Australian name. But yeah, I mean, I think the most impressive part about Hoskins' performance is that he didn't look like he got there based on luck. It was purely on his pace and the car's pace.
Yeah, almost definitely, and only lost you know, a significant chunk of time at the end when he had the little incident with Ledesma, which he was very lucky didn't cost him.
Yeah, that could have really ended in tears.
Kanga did get 10th! I've just noticed on the timing screen. Alar Kanga then, after what we can only really describe as the race from hell after what happened last time out, has indeed taken 10th place from James Vasquez on the final lap, and to recover and take a point was, I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, what a race though.
Looking further back then, Ryan only recovered to 14th, and Ledesma, well, he finished last on his return to Formula Virtual. Hopefully he'll be better next time out. But it's Enrique Ruiz then who wins here in the 2020 Malaysian V-Prix. So there we have it then. Enrique Ruiz is the winner here in Malaysia, round 2 of the 2020 World Championship. Will Hoskins finishes a fine second place, with Nathaniel Powers rounding out the podium just ahead of his teammate. Adrian Simon took the fastest lap on the way to 5th, while Dominicas Veranas got his best finish to date with 7th place. Down there, Johan Halvorsen's retirement then in the end ended up being a suspension failure. Disappointing for the Danish driver. Felix Perez also retiring, a key player early on. The Drivers' Championship then, well, it's Enrique Ruiz who goes to the top. He's now 16 points clear of Klaas van Snelheid, as the winner last time out drops to 3rd. However, Kanga did pick up another point with a phenomenal recovery drive after an incredibly difficult race today. Very impressive from the Estonian. Elroy Wagner obviously gained some significant ground with his first points of the season. Hunter Ryan and Felix Baer have gone up a few spots. Gianni Ledesma obviously ahead of now all of those who have failed to qualify for the first 2 races. In the Constructors' Championship, well, it's still Matthershaw Porsche that lead. Their gap is 15 points. It's now over Downton, as Lopez slipped to 3rd. They're tied on points with 1st, ahead courtesy of that win last time out. Ocelot and Ingram gain ground, as do North Star with their first points of the season, up 4 spots. But that's all from our race here today in Kuala Lumpur. So from me, Lily and Robert, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time for round 3 from Melbourne, Australia.